but also culturally, probably the most important aspect, probably the most important culture outside of Spanish was French. The model, you know, all the educational system was basically copies of the French system, and the people regarded Paris, particularly in the 20th century, early 20th century,
yeah, well,
like America,
right.
You know, as the place to go. Yeah. Spain, you know, Spain in a way, yes or not, in a way, because there's a very famous poet, I think he was, I don't know, a Cuban or Colombian poet that was visiting Spain, and then he was writing letters to a friend of his, and in the letter said, well, tomorrow I am leaving Spain and going to Europe. You know, he was going to France, but it was that kind of the very powerful input of southern Spain. You know, the Moorish element in Spain always made it look kind of an old country in Europe in a way. But so still, in my generation, really, basically, I say all the 20th century was really, they were going to study, you know, in Sorbonne, if you were, you know, into natural sciences, or the conservatory, Scola Cantorum.
So what do you think moved you away from the French influence in music? Because you didn't go that direction, right?
No, actually it's funny, because the conservatory, all the people that really, and the educational structure was very much a Scola Cantorum, you know, a French conservatory. But basically what happened is that as I was looking for a way to, you know, finding a teacher, you know, when I found the group of German, Austrian refugees, like very much like in the States, that were all, you know, Schule teachers and conductors that escaped Germany, I found a very natural comfort, you know, well, listening to that music and to that way of looking at music in a way.
You know, I feel that it's the same experience with younger people like me. The French is just like the gray background, and then these Eastern and Central Europeans, they have a different attitude and a different way of approaching music that was very appealing to many people, I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, basically, you know, I really was going strong for polyphony, you know, and you know, the great polyphony. And of course, it was early polyphony. French polyphony was fantastic, but in a way, more into the 19th century, I was you know, to a certain extent, not all that crazy about French music in general. Somehow, you know, I mean.
Well, it's a very complicated subject.
Yeah, no, but you know, as a young person,
yeah.
You know, I can speculate why, but as a young person, that's what I was interested. I was interested in kind of. You know, early Beethoven and you know, and Mozart and Haydn, yeah. Particularly Haydn, you know, and Bach, you know, and that was, to me, was the bread and butter. That was the portico I wanted to go through into music in a way. And somehow I found that working with two of my teachers were all Schule teachers. Basically, I was right where I wanted to be, and I tried studying with some of the good composers that were. Argentine composers, very good musicians, but they had the much more French type of French or Santa Cecilia, you know, Italian kind of view.
I don't know that, but of course, Finisterre is very French. You know, it's
right.
Milhaud kind of.
Well, it's Milhaud and Bartok, I would say, because you know, during the you know, 40s, 30s, 40s, and early 50s, somehow the nationalist composers revered Bartok as, you know, as the supermaster. So the funny thing is that in a way, to do nationalistic music well, you had to sound like Bartok. So you write Argentine music sounding a little bit like Hungarian music.
Well, yeah. This reminds me, there was a certain period of time when in the Latin American music it would have one composer, for example, would have a body of works with Baroque, one with some of crazy texture pieces, and then there would be sort of the French harmony. it was those three elements you see so often in the South American music, like Villa-Lobos or the Bachianos Brasileiras, and he has a somewhat more experimental sound.
Yeah, but when you say Mio was very influenced by really Brazilian music in a way. I mean,
yeah,
the harmonies that he extracted from, which is in a way is a country with a native music that is absolutely not to be believed. I mean, it's just music.
That's the third element, is the native music.
Oh yeah, no.
The native music, the Bach, and the
naturalness of the people. I mean, in the streets. You
yes.
know, I mean, I remember once having a shoe shine, and there were like 10 kids sitting there, you know, and one got a job, and one started to sing. And all the kids got their little boxes of the wax and start to make like percussion. You know, that was absolutely. I wish I would have recorded it. It was the most sophisticated, really, a sense of rhythm and timbre. You know, with the little boxes and the wooden box from where you step on.
Put your foot, yeah.
Right, and it's just a very natural. Element in the culture, and it's very rich because you have very different type of folklores. You know, you have the Afro, Afro-Indian from that part of the southern Brazil that is very different from the northern. So there is many different Afro-Indian or Afro-Portuguese combinations. Yeah. So it's a very, very rich background, very, very broad types of music. You know.
That's why I love Arthur Campella's. He does this the popular music, as well as he does both, and he does both very, very well.
Right. You know, in Brazil, what is called popular music reached a level of artistry that almost defies the limits, in a way. You know, it's a very, it's one of the richest folklores I know. Maybe, Russia maybe is the other country with a huge, kind of trajectory also but it's very, very powerful in a way.
And what about Argentina, the folk music there?
It's more or less, it's more or less similar to basically the folklore of Colombia or Venezuela, basically Spanish. Tango is really French, came through France. But basically, the Indian cultures were not very dominant, and they were exterminated by the railroad construction. So basically, and they didn't have the degree of permanence and quantities as the Incas or the Mayans or Aztecs in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, only in the northern part of Argentina. There was kind of the edges of the Inca, Peruvian high, very high